The 7-month French infant in a military hospital in the late 18th century when a man with an incredible hunger walks in. Do I even want to look this up? I guess you've piqued my interest enough. Just hope I don't regret it. Tarrare moment? He was a French showman and soldier and had an unusual appetite. He was basically a dude that just ate everything, sometimes even military documents, and then he would be able to retrieve them later. Oh no, later. But yeah, I guess he was eventually accused of eating a kid. He's still a very big mystery to the medical community, I guess. It's really kind of horrifying. Yes, a museum in London. Meanwhile, a museum in Athens. Weird, it looks like something's missing. British museum moment, I guess. This statue in London is looking really lonely. You think they should maybe get a few more. What quantum physics does to an MFer. Max Planck in 1878 versus Max 23 years later. Okay, the dude is probably like 18 years old here. He doesn't look that bad for being in his 30s. Then again, I don't even really know what quantum physics is. Yes, the study of matter and energy at the most fundamental level. That explains everything. Okay, maybe it's as easy as just staring at this for long enough and then you'll be able to grow an epic mustache like Max here. Tank slander! T-34 is explaining how losing 82% of its tanks makes it the best. Sherman's deciding which variant to kick your butt with the German B. Tiger 2's waiting for gas. I am vaguely actually getting some of these references, and that is kind of a miracle. One of my biggest fears in life is being obsessed with military vehicles, but I know I'm clearly on that path already. When you create a conspiracy about a whole town not existing, this doesn't even sound vaguely familiar to me. Okay, but this is actually a real place in Germany. This was like the original Wyoming doesn't exist or Finland doesn't exist meme. But I guess the no-no Germans back in 1944 used it to confuse the approaching allies. So maybe we're actually intentionally trying to confuse people still, even in this day and age with all those memes. There's allegedly around 6.5 million Finns, right? That's out of 7.125 billion humans. That means Finns make up 0.09% of the planet. That's not 9%, that's 0.09. To put it another way, 99.9% of the planet are not Finns, and the best government censuses have a margin of error of at least 1%, which means it puts this entire country within that margin of error. There's only a 50-50 chance this place actually exists. POV, you enter the Argentinian disco your German grandpa recommended. Okay, I saw where this was coming a mile away. Can you, sir? It is a Tuesday night. Can you look more presentable? If you had to exclude any mention of Germany whatsoever, would all of us even be able to come up with one fact about Argentina? World War I generals when they release mustard gas on the battlefield and the wind changes direction. Yes, that smelly smell. The smell that smells smelly. And to think, what better last words than this? Nothing better than a bit of spicy wind. How the American Revolution is taught. Could you stop taxing us? No, we're also not going to give you representation. Versus how the American Revolution was. Can you help us get out of bankruptcy? We got into a war on your behalf. No plus cope plus ratioed plus declare independence. That really is one of the biggest ratios in human history. India, can we be independent? India will be independent over my dead body. Norway, we want to be independent. Okay, responds Sweden. Then there's Singapore. It's so nice to be a part of Get the frick out. The rare instance where the place wants to be a part of a bigger power, and yet they were like, nah. And it's so funny to see how that's worked out for Malaysia, because Singapore is doing pretty good. They probably want them back now. Blissfully watching anime? Reminded that the glory of the Roman Empire is a relic of the distant past. I was just trying to have one good day. I'll never be happy. Girls in other classes versus girls in my class. Basically, are you trying to tell me the girls in your class commit a lot of war crimes? Because yeah, that is kind of a problem. This guy kills off Sherlock Holmes because he's bored of writing him. Meanwhile, the entire British reading population, oh yeah, they're gonna make sure that you really regret this. Fangirls of 1893. People are still fangirls for him, even 100 years later. Infinite food glitch? 4.3 million views and uploaded 12,000 years ago. I remember when this tutorial dropped on YouTube, it completely changed the hunter-gatherer strats. No group has ever been nerfed harder before because of one video. Can't imagine if this thing was never made. Modern hooligans, let's break everything. Frick the government. Ancient hooligans want to overthrow Justinian. Let's take over Constantinople. Back in the day when they did it for the Vine, just a moderate amount of trolling. Me reading a post from a weeb about how one samurai can take on 2 knights with armor easily. Are you forgetting that samurais used guns? Although unless that guy could run really fast, I don't even know if that's gonna be enough. The 101st Airborne Division about to completely obliterate that one German soldier enjoying his time in occupied France. Well, I hope he liked his vacation before they got there, but D-Day was about to mess that whole thing up. Who fought in World War II according to Google? Okay, yes, we need to start with the Axis powers. Japan, Germany, Maurice, and Italy. The strongest members. Let's be real, Maurice is about as powerful as the entire country of Bulgaria. Why I'm antisocial. The people around me, yeah, freaking plebs. Quite literally, actually. It's rough out here. Let them eat cake, says Mary Antoinette. Actually, she was referring to this type of bread. Actually, she never said the quote at all, and it was a ploy by one of her rivals to make her look uninformed. Actually, she in fact did say the quote, but it was when she was a child, and it was a response for being told some poor people couldn't even afford a single piece of bread. What a roller coaster ride this was. I don't think I was this many levels deep into the lore. I'm not even sure exactly what to believe. He's locked up in his cell, so he won't escape this time. Meanwhile, Ted Bundy, after losing enough weight to crawl through an air vent, went straight up Mission Impossible mode. Do not say it, do not say it, do not say it, do not say it. I guess he just had to vent. France like, Germans have no sense of humor. You can't have fun. The last time we had fun, the Americans had to save you. Yeah, every time this country seems to be having fun, they actually just plunge the entire world into chaos. I don't think you guys should be allowed to have fun anymore. People that were defending Vienna in 1683. We're screwed without the Poles when the winged his czars arrived. So epic. Leaders of France and Italy greeting each other in 1805. What? What is...
Together for justice.
Is this gonna have to do with something Napoleon revolutions? They don't trust... I'm not even sure what the hell's going on here, to be honest. Oh, it's supposed to be Napoleon of France becoming king of Italy. I see. That was gonna go completely over my head. Oh, because in this scene, these two characters are the same person. Oh, spoiler alert. I don't know if anyone was watching that. I pretty much stopped watching after the Boo saga. East Romans, no army can cross the eastern desert to threaten Syria. Let's focus on our... Meanwhile, Khalid bin Walid's army crossing the desert. He went straight through the Syrian desert that separated the Persian Empire from the Roman Syria. Okay, now this is epic. Normal people with a time machine. Get down, Lincoln! Me with a time machine. One ticket to the games, please. Always wanted to see a man get mauled by a lion. Aren't you gonna need to know a little bit of Latin first to get this ticket, though? Karen, you should speak English. This is America. Her German ancestors. Yeah, maybe you should take an ancestry test before you go around saying this. Even if your ancestors are from Britain, that old English be sounding like a whole other language sometimes. Interesting, there's actually this thing called Texas German, which was spoke by descendants of German immigrants who settled Texas in the mid-19th century. This reminds me of the town in Oklahoma named Prague, which was settled by Czech immigrants. Julius Caesar, when the senators say they're too busy with their wives, but you're with the senators' wives. Yeah, definitely ain't easy out here. Oh, they didn't say they're with their wives, they're with their knives. Understandable mistake. I'm sure this isn't gonna be a problem in the near future. Impress your friends with this one simple trick. Beryllium half spheres, plutonium core. Screwdrivers used to prevent, Oh, I know what they're gonna do. This is how you create a second sun on Earth. I too want my shadow to become one with the wallpaper. World War II bombs in London. World War II bombs in Dresden. World War II bombs in Hiroshima. Oh, those two memes go hand in hand. Both get glowing reviews from me. Soviet commanders when there's a minefield that needs to be cleared and you're in a penile battalion. If I had a nickel for every time a capable emperor had no solid succession plan, which led to instability and poor governance after his death, I'd have at least $2. Wow, a nickel every time. Oh, yeah, $2. That's a considerable amount. Pretty much the Roman Empire summarized. Canadian, Australian, New Zealander, Indian, and other Commonwealth soldiers serving during World War II after being exposed to fascism. Meanwhile, the South African soldiers serving during World War II after being exposed to fascism. There's always that one that's just gotta be different. Theodore Roosevelt campaigning in 1912 versus Roosevelt after exploring an uncharted river in the Amazon rainforest 2 years later. Yeah, let's just not go to the Amazon rainforest. I feel like it's a pretty simple thing, but so many people were trying it. It seems like a very obvious thing. Maybe back in the day, you know, they thought it was just gonna be glorious. But yeah, the Amazon rainforest, not a fun place to just randomly explore. No, Germany annexing Austria in 1938, while Mexico being the only country to protest it at the League of Nations. And that's why Austria to this day has a little area in it dedicated to Mexico. Really want to go there one day. The Adventures of Tintin in what? Tintin is, what? I'm very confused about this. I don't think he's a Soviet, though. Didn't even know. Tintin is basically Belgian. The Chinese have always been enemies with the Japanese, like Chinese and Mongols, or Chinese and European colonialism, or Chinese and other Chinese. Damn Chinese, they ruined China. What is the original line from the Simpsons episode? But yeah, China was fighting with everyone, even themselves. The southern states broke from the Union before any law was passed. That's right. And the southern states attacked federal forts first. So it seems. So the South South acted first both politically and militarily. Yep, the South were the aggressors. It's the war of northern aggression. That makes sense to me. Crazy how often this subject still comes up like 150 years later. Can't even imagine what it must be like to be in a country that's been in a recent civil war. Me after stabbing a guy 23 times. Oh, that actually is the best use of this line I think I've ever seen. It is the most Roman thing out there. Yes, the Death Note writes in Soviet leadership. Oh, that's who did it. Wow, that's gotta be the reason why it was so effective. It did seem just a little too easy. Maybe he did have the book. Countries occupied by the British Empire, watching the Brits completely frick up the ingredients and recipes they stole from them. You know they're trying their best. They're trying their best to not say anything, but it's really hard out here. Seasoning is important. What a civil war does to an MFer. Okay, yeah, this is a good example. Yeah, probably don't want to be in charge of leadership during a civil war. Although, you definitely don't want to go to a play during that event either. And big thanks to the patrons. My name's Joe Biden. I love being Joe Biden. Diary of a Wimpy Kid the Catfish. Drew's Argentinian Grandpa.
Fatnuts.
aPhatNarwhal.
Barnsky W.
Bring Back Polandball.
LuxembourgLover.
Cowboys 83.
Jakov Bruney.
Marco Hindera.
Max Cooper.
Ortin
Philipp
5610.
RF.
Robert E.
RyeThePie.
The Mexican 760.
Why am I doing this?
William the Conqueror. And Subar A.N.